is when Sam calls Graham and they say, I actually miss you, mate.
Yeah.
It made me want to pick up my phone and call all of my friends who I miss. And
Really?
I feel like we don't tell our friends enough that we miss them. We don't tell people enough in general. We love them, we miss them, we cherish them.
That's fair.
I think we take for granted, like we're going to see them again, we're going to talk to them again. And sometimes you're not fortunate enough to have that. So friends, when you're done with this podcast episode, tell a friend you miss them.
Yes.
Call
I think
them.
that's a great idea.
Yes. So that was my good. My bad was actually the clip you just played at the beginning where Graham and Sam are sitting at the end and they've got a dram and they've got some biscuits. And Graham says, I'm super impressed with the stuff you've brought with you. I'll try a square one now. Because I think he was supposed to be giving props to Sam's whiskey.
Yes.
I wonder if Sam had brought his Sassenach whiskey. And this was Graham saying, I'm super impressed with the stuff you brought with you, like from Scotland. You brought all this stuff, and here I am, including Sam's whiskey. Or I thought he was going to say, I'm super impressed with the stuff you brought with you. Oh, yes, these are shortbread biscuits from Scotland. Or I found a Scottish bakery here in New Zealand. Like, it just was so confusing. Like, I'm impressed with the stuff. Okay, then what is it, Graham?
Yeah.
Worst influencer ever. Where is your affiliate link? What are you impressed by?
What
the
is
whiskey,
it, Graham?
The square what? I'm assuming it's the cookie. Is it the glass jar you're impressed by? Because that was square shaped maybe too. I don't know. But I was at first I was tentative because I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be a Sassenach whiskey.
That's
toast right
what
here.
I thought it was going to be.
Like, is this going to be a thing? And then when it just became the square thing, I'm like, okay, now he's talking about a biscuit, but I think there was a weird edit. But then why keep that in? Why say, I'm super impressed with the stuff you brought with you. I'll try a square one now. Why do we need any of that? Other than that, it was great. This was wonderful. Great way to kick it off. What are you excited about? Love it. Why do we need to talk about the stuff Sam brought if you're not going to tell me what the heck it was that he actually brought? Tell me. Whiskey, cookies, what?
Oh, man.
Peanut butter Nutella on a spoon?
Sure.
Okay.
Definitely wasn't bread, I'll tell you that.
And then my great was I missed these men so much.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've been hanging out with Sam Heughan all season of Outlander, but there's some magic with Graham. He's got magic with Christina Balfe, but the two of them
are very good.
Oh my God.
Very, very good. I got to give them credit.
Even with the incessant voiceover that was meant to feel like it was in real time done, I forgave them because I just loved them. I love them. So, Blake, you're GBGs.
Barry, I am not as nice as you. I will say that in terms of...
We all know that.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Facts.
All right, my good. First is... All right. I enjoyed, like, the intro a little bit. Some of it was very good, like when Graham's ringtone for Sam is actually the Skyboat song.
Yes.
I thought that was very funny. Like,
agreed.
That is in on the joke humor, and that's my kind of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Or even when he says, Big Balls, whatever his name is.
Oh my God. I didn't catch that until my third time.
Really?
Oh, who is your character? Oh, my character was James Malcolm, Big Balls, that redhead, Big Balls, Fraser. Yes, and you were Dougal McGrumpy.
Yes. So there's part of that intro and the whole thing.
McAngry, that's what it was. Big Balls.
Yeah.
I missed it. I was just so used to okay,
Big
James.
Balls, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Very good fun, like very funny.
Well done, Graham.
Again, in on the joke humor. Yes. I like that. The bad though was the intro. It was so, and I imagine it was supposed to be, but it was so cheesy.
Which part of the intro?
The whole thing.
The whole acted up Sam being alone in the bar,
like it was
missing his friend.
Yeah, and,
inspiring me to call my friends.
Yes. Like I
the
actually
doorknob.
I believe the sentiment of it.
Yeah.
And like the doorknob part was actually kind of funny. Oh my God, it was actually kind of funny because
it's door porn. I want this magical, like stained glass door that made me think maybe it's also on the set of Virgin River.
The door porn.
Oh, the door porn with the knob. Of course, a hobbit would come to that door.
But I thought that was funny. But overall, the intro was just super cheesy and super. like obviously staged, and that to me does not appeal, for the show. I don't think that's what I'm here for. I'm not here for that kind of cheesiness. Okay. I'm here to see the actual interactions between these two men, right? And having said that, Mary, you forgave them for the bad ADR, and I cannot.
It's funny because I don't think that it was this bad in the first season.
No.
I feel like they would take their conversations from the camper van and then put pictures over it, but this they tried to make it feel like they're talking in the camper van.
Yes.
And now here's some B-roll footage, but it is so clear that the voiceover is not taken from the camper van, that it's them from their audio booth tracks, sounding like they recorded their second audiobook.
And even if the audio was in line with the audio that they had from the camper, because if you spent enough time on it, you could make it sound like that if you truly wanted, right? I mean, like, even in my own little studio, I could do that. However, the way that the script is written is nothing like how they were going back and forth. Like the natural intonation of it, like
it was so starkly different.
It was so different, and it was so obviously scripted that it just it
takes you out.
Well, I don't care if it takes me out. It
took me out.
I can't enjoy it. Like, I know it's not real. I know it's scripted. I know they're in a booth, and don't try to make me feel stupid.
It almost felt like they were in different booths, which probably, right? Because one's in Scotland, one's... And I feel like when they did VOs in season 1, it sounded like they did it together. Like they were genuinely laughing at each other as they were commenting.
Yeah.
Kind of like here in a podcast. I didn't have the feeling that when they did the voiceovers that they were with each other, that it was, you read your line and we're going to edit in Graham's.
Right. So, yeah, it felt very much like the audiobook when they were doing it. Like, there's just no natural chemistry when you're reading in a booth. It is what it is, right?
Unless you're a Disney princess.
So, I mean, the thing here, too, is you can obviously tell that this season it is much more highly produced. From the camera angles, the VO, even the little cutaways, for all the little maps they're showing and everything. Like, they had that in season 1. But it is you can tell that there's a bigger budget for season 2.
Yes.
And that works to a good effect.
Or are things just cheaper in New Zealand?
That's true. Good point. But it also, I think, kind of detracts from the boots on the ground kind of feel. And like what I really loved, and I know I talked about this in season 1 for this show, was, to me, this kind of experience is perfectly encapsulated by the mockumentary or the documentary or the scripted documentary called The Trip with, what's his name there? I can't remember their freaking names right now, but whatever. Now I got to look it up because it's going to piss me off if I don't.
Or Zac Efron doing all of his shows.
I didn't watch that. Oh, Rob Brydon and Steve Coogan. I'm sure that there are people just screaming the names right now at the podcast. Rob Brydon and Steve Coogan, like two best friends who went on a trip and did the whole thing. It was perfect. And because it was all natural, boots on the ground, like whatever they said there, that's what they showed.
And honestly, I picture a lot of what they say to have been things that they probably did genuinely say to each other.
Yes.
But maybe in editing, they thought, oh, that takes too much time, or there was an extra sentence in. Let's just have them do a VO. Right. But it did feel a bit more extra edited and then it took away a little bit of its...
Yeah. But my great is I truly love watching these two guys interact. Like, just as they are, just busting each other's balls, having fun, and the sheer terror on Graham's face. Like, that's no joke.
Yes.
That's legitimate. When he is going down that zip line screaming, "Damn you, Hewitt!" Like, that's real.
Yes.
And I cannot heap enough praise upon those interactions, especially when Sam sees it and like recognizes it and says, "Oh my God."
Yeah, I feel bad.
I kind of feel bad for this. I it's hard for me to take him at his word, just because everything feels so salesy a lot of the time. But when he looks at the camera and says, "I kind of feel bad,"
Yeah.
I genuinely believe him, and that is what The Great was. That is what attracts me to this show.
I wouldn't say that Sam feels salesy. I think Sam is such a young little puppy in real life, and we're used to him being a more not conservative, like, but just like he's older Jamie Fraser now, and that's who we've
Yes.
gotten used to, is a bit more stoic Jamie Fraser. So when we see Sam being the little golden retriever puppy that he is in real life,
Or when Mary has the Shark app on her watch.
I love my
and
Shark
her phone.
app. Yes.
But you had to take it off because there were so many sharks.
It was too many in July. So we are.
I would say we're shark aficionados.
I was going to say we're like shark experts.
We're just about there.
We have not gone shark diving. We have not gone on shark sightings.
Yeah.
But we have seen a lot of it. Yeah. So this was JV shark diving.
Very JV. I would say freshman team.
But here's what I'll say. I don't know Sam and Graham's level of wearing scuba gear. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily know, like there's probably with the great whites that they have out there, they probably have a bit more significant great white shark ships.
Yep.
They probably have access to great white shark and just shark exploration camera.
Yeah.
Like I think that's it too. We're used to seeing top-notch camera work where these people are used to filming in cage situations. Whereas I feel like the ship that they went out on is just an experiential ship, and they were like, let's see what we got with waterproof GoPros.
Yeah. They got the GoPros but yes, I think the overall listen. When you're basically the Hoopa from Jaws, okay, when you're the guy that is the expert in sharks, then. Yeah, I think your expectations are going to be let down.
So we had Shark Week expectations, but I will say the reactions that Graham and Sam had, I found super authentic. I thought if you and I were in a similar shark cage, I'd be tapping you. Oh my God, look, did you see Sam sign language shark? He smacks Graham and does this little shark thing. So I felt like it was normal and authentic that if someone was in the water in a scuba outfit, seeing a great white shark, they would be like, wow, that was a really incredible experience. I feel like you and I are desensitized because we're so spoiled because of our shark coverage that to us, we were like, man, that wasn't that big of a deal.
Well, maybe we're more Quint than Hoopa then.
My favorite part, however, was when Sam and Graham were doing their voiceover work, looking at the previous shark cage footage.
Yes.
And that one shark came in through the cage.
Yeah.
And Graham's going, what's going on? Why is that one in the cage? What is going on?
So I will say that the event of the shark and the whole thing and what they were filming was not very interesting.
Correct. Same is what I want to say.
But
for
you're right, Mary. For non-Shark Week people, for non-nerds, I'm sure that it was very good.
Yes.
And you're right, Mary, the genuine interaction between the two, especially when he's when Graham says, I've thought about my worst week ever. And I think you've just described it. Him going into these tanks and everything. Yes, okay. I can imagine him saying that, and that feels real.
He says, when do we just start? When do we start to just sit in armchairs and just read books? And I put, once again, this is Blake and I.
100%. When Graham said that, I said, that is my life. That is exactly where I just want to sit in an armchair and read a book.
Yep.
That's funny.
Then we get a really cool experience, which I enjoyed this one, I think, the best in regards to learning about New Zealand, the helicopter ride that they did in their kilts.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for that choice and outfit, by the way. You can't have a Men in Kilts show without these guys being in kilts at some point. Obviously, you could, but you can't really wear a kilt ziplining.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable, a little nerve-wracking, nor scuba diving. So this is the only kilted activity they could do.
Yes.
But for us to learn about this amazing environment that allows the luscious jungle and then has the glacier and the snow-capped mountains, I had no idea. I had no idea that something like that existed in New Zealand.
Totally agree.
So to me, that was authentically New Zealand versus the other ones being like you could be bungee jumping, zip lining in lots of other places. This is just more to scare Graham. And then the shark thing, I've been desensitized because I've OD'd on Shark Week. So, but I also know that there are a ton of great white sharks around New Zealand. So I appreciate that. But to me, this was wow, how cool and unique to New Zealand.
Yeah, and especially, and this is a real nerd moment for you, when they overlaid, the Hobbit film on top of the film that they had from the when they were filming the show.
Yes.
It was interesting to see what the Hobbit captured in comparison to what the real life was. How it was designed out. But another thing that really stood out to me too was the lighting of and the color treatment that The Hobbit had, right? In comparison to a real life shot.
Okay.
The color treatment of the Hobbit film, when you're watching something and it's just native to the film, you don't really recognize the tinting of it, or you don't recognize the treatment. But when you put the two next to each other, you can see that there's a real golden hue to the Hobbit, and that was obviously done on purpose. And how they try to make that landscape more vibrant and real and lifelike, as opposed to just capturing it just in the raw, right? I don't know why that stood out to me. Like, wow, that is the beauty and the art and the science of filmmaking. How you can take this one thing, change a few things, and make it look like this grand landscape, even more than what it already is. It really spectacular stuff.
Agreed.
And of course, we did have the inclusion of some Outlander footage as well.
Oh my
just
gosh.
in case you forget.
Yes.
Just in case you forget where you come from, and why they're here. Do you think that, Mary, it is still necessary for them to include Outlander footage the way that they did in season 1?
I do, because it made me smile. It made me smile to see all the clips they chose with their banter of the big balls and the McAngry while they're saying it. I think it's also great because there are people who are casual Outlander viewers who are going to stumble across